Hi everyone. Hi Jill, I'm well fine, thank you. Can you hear me okay? Hi Alison. Yes, I'm well thanks Alison, are you? Hi Patty. Hi Rachel. Oh, she didn't make the cut. It was grotty weather and the first day actually got cancelled. So it was basically just a one shot at the very first round and she just missed the cut. So Jill, great, thank you. Oh, is he not well again, Alison? 30 degrees. Oh no. Well, we've had Storm Francis this week, and blimey, it was a storm and a half. I know, it doesn't matter, Rachel, it's fine. I knew what you meant. Yeah, it was a bit of a nightmare actually. We got moved hotels the day before we were due to travel. We had the practice round, and that was okay, although it was windy. Tuesday was meant to be the first day of the competition. We woke up to find out that it had been suspended because of the weather, and then about half an hour later they abandoned it completely for that day. She was meant to play a round on Tuesday, a round on Wednesday, and then there's meant to be a cut, and everybody that makes the cut after the Wednesday goes and plays 2 rounds on the Thursday. But because they cancelled the first round, she literally had 1 round at trying to make the cut, and she just missed out. But to be fair, Thursday was awful, and the first round got played and the second round got abandoned, so it was all a bit of a nightmare really. Hi Sheila. Hi Dawn. Hi Charlotte. Yeah, I know, it's fine. We're going off to Leeds tomorrow for a practice round because she's got another competition on Friday. So we'll see if the weather's any better this week. So Lynn's saying we had storms here yesterday and it cooled us from 38 to 30. Oh no. Yeah, no, nowhere near that for us, just wind and horrible rain. Right, I've got a very quick project for you today because I'm supposed to be going out with her again at 6 o'clock tonight to do some practice. So I've got a little project again that's going to be, hi Lisa, made using basic shapes. I was going to try and do some foiling, but I might not have time, but we'll see how we get on. So the first thing I'm going to do is literally cut a couple of basic shapes from the machine, and then I'm going to create a shape from the machine to make something else. So I'm going to be making, if I can, a simple gift card with like a belly band. And basically this is my prototype that you can see here. 2 bits of paper. I literally tried to put this together on Friday, worked out some measurements, scribbled some notes down, and that's as far as I got. Thank you, Charlotte. That's nice of you. Right, so I'm going to flip you to the ScanNCut machine. Now, the first shape that I'm going to use that's in the machine, I did look on Friday in my old pattern book for the CM900. Hi Barbara. Yeah, it wasn't exactly a holiday, but it was fine. Rain interrupted Hannah's match, but game I should say, but anyway, not to worry. Right, so this first pattern that I'm going to use is in the CM900 because I've still got my pattern like chart with all the designs in it. It might not be in exactly the same place as you'll find it on the SDX, but it is there. It's in the section, I think, that has the flower and the little parcel, and I would think it's probably on the CM600 as well, but I'm just choosing a random shape. I mean, you know, you can just use anything basically. Yeah, gift cards are always handy, aren't they? And if you can just make something a little bit more fancier to present it in, then it's just a bit of an added bonus really, isn't it, Sheila? So I'm on the machine, I'm going into patterns, I'm going into the second icon along. Now for me, the pattern that I'm going to use is in this icon here, the one that looks like it's got the tags. But on the CM900, I'm sure it's in the icon that's got the flower and the what looks like a present. So I'm just going to come into here and I'm going to scroll down until I find the pattern that I want to use, and it's this one here. It's AR-KO25, and I did write it down to try and remind me. And I'm just going to leave it at the size it is for now and set it onto my mat. Just checking all the cameras that everything's still recording, because you know what technology's like and I could just lose you all. Hi Anne. Right, so I'm going to set this onto the mat and I'm just going to bring it into the middle of the screen in the hope that you might see it a little bit better. Because it's small, what I'm going to do, I'm going to come into edit and object edit, and I'm going to make it bigger because I want to, this at the moment basically is a frame. I'm not sure how well you'll see it, but there's like a hole in the middle and I don't want that hole, I want this to be a solid shape. So I'm going to come into the resize and just on the height, I'm just going to take the size up so it's nice and big so that I can see it better on the screen. Try and zoom in a bit more in the hope that you can see it. So I'm going to say OK just to set that on the mat, and then I'm going to say OK again, OK, and come to add. I'm going to come to patterns and I'm going to come to the basic shapes, and I'm going to scroll down and find an oval, and this one will do, and I'm just going to set it on the mat. So here's my oval. This oval is going to help me get rid of this bit in the middle so that this will become one solid like matte layer as opposed to a frame with a hole in the middle. So I'm going to say, with this oval selected, I'm going to say edit, object edit, and the first thing I'm going to do, no I don't want to do that, the first thing I'm going to do is rotate it so it's vertical, and I'm just going to position it over the middle section of this frame and say OK. Now I'm going to come into the resize handles. Hi Bonnie. And I'm just going to take the height up so that this oval gets bigger, and I'm going to drag it down. I want it to cover up this middle section, so I'm just going to keep making it bigger and kind of positioning it, and I can see that it's overlapping this bit at the top and this bit at the bottom, but it's not wide enough. So now I'm going to untick maintain aspect ratio, and I'm going to adjust the width so that this oval completely covers this kind of square element of this shape without going outside of the outer edge of the shape, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to do this kind of like bit by bit in the hope that it's going to get wider but not too wide, that it actually goes over the outside shape. Hi Vicky. So that, I think, possibly might need to take the height up a little bit more. I think it's going to look okay. So let's see, I've just seen Mags. Hi Ashley, hope last weekend was a success. No, not a success as such, Mags. Weather interrupted and she missed the cut just by a couple of shots, but not to worry. So this oval here now, I want to cover this centre section. So that's what I'm trying to do, adjusting the height kind of independently so it covers this shape. I might have to take it up a little bit more in height. And let's see how we go. So now I'm going to say OK, OK, and I'm going to use the 3 red boxes to select everything that's on the mat. So I'm going to choose that box that selects the frame and my big oval. I'm going to say OK, Object Edit. Hi Marcia, it's okay, I've only just started, but hopefully it'll be recorded. So now I'm going to use the weld icon and see if this oval I've made big enough, because when I weld it, it should get rid of that inner section of this frame and give me what I want, a solid, like matte shape. So when I hit weld, I can see I've not quite got it because there's a little bit there, so I'm going to cancel. And I'm going to click off, and I'm just going to move the oval down ever so slightly. So I'm going to say OK with the oval selected and come into the directional arrows and just see if I can move the oval down to get it to miss this corner here. So now I'm going to say OK. Oops, I need to go back. I'm going to get Edit, select the 3 red boxes again and select everything. Say OK, Object Edit, and try welding again and see if I get what I want. Now that is what I want, that one solid shape. So I can say yes, OK. Now, obviously that's too big for what I'm going to make. So, but this is the shape I want. So you can see by using that oval, I've been able to weld out that middle area, which was a frame. So I'm going to come into the icon that adjusts the size, and I want it to be about 2 inches wide. So I'm going to take the height down, and I think from memory on my bit of paper here I've got 2.61, should bring it down to a width of 2 inches. So I'm just going to keep bringing this size back down. Now I only made it bigger so it was easier to see. So if I keep taking this down now to 2.61 or thereabouts to get me to 2 inches wide. So this shape now I've made into a solid shape layer from a frame, okay, and that's just by using simple basic shapes. So I've got the size now. I'm going to say OK, 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 and that's one of my shapes. Now I want a circle, so I'm going to come to Add, back into Patterns, into Basic Shapes, and I'm just going to scroll down and find a circle, and I want a 1 3/4 inch circle. As I say, I've not made this. This is just all kind of what I've worked out on paper, so I'm hoping it's going to work. So with that circle now at 1 3/4 inches, I'm going to say Set. So I've now got the 2 shapes on the mat, and I actually might be able to cut all this at the same time, so I'm going to bring that circle down here. So now I'm going to make the actual piece that's going to be the gift card holder. Are we still all okay on? Yeah, everything looks okay. So I'm going to come to Add, back to Pattern, and back into Basic Shapes. and the shape I need, I think, is near the end, but I'm just going to scroll through. Hi Janita. Hi Rita, welcome. And I'm just going to try and find this other basic shape. And it's this one, so it's BA A140. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to make the height 4 inches. And that will make the width 4 inches, because technically this is a square. So I'm going to set that on the mat. And then I want a rectangle to go with this. So I'm going to go add patterns, back into basic shapes. We'll grab a square because that's the easiest. I'm going to untick maintain aspect ratio, and I'm going to make the width 4 inches to match the other one. And the height, because I've unticked maintain aspect ratio, I can adjust the height and the width independently. And I want to make the height 7. So I'm going to take the height up to 7. So I'm going to end up with a rectangle that's 7 inches high by 4 inches wide. And set that on the mat. So here's my rectangle. I'm going to drag that right into the bottom right hand corner just to anchor it. This shape with the cutout, I'm going to push over to the outer edge of the mat so I know that they're lined up, and then I'm just going to bring it down ever so slightly until I see an overlap. And I don't know how well you'll see this, but you should be able to see that this top section, the square with the like cut out circular bit, is overlapping this rectangle I made. Now I just want to select these two and weld them together. So I'm going to say okay, oh no, I'm going to say edit, choose the 3 red boxes. I've got one of the elements selected that I want. So I'm going to choose this first box here this time, which enables me to drag over the handles to tell the machine just the 2 parts that I want. Let me zoom back out so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I've got just these 2 bits isolated now. So I'm going to say, yeah, they're the 2 bits I want. Say okay, okay, they're both selected. I'm going to go to Object, Edit and Weld. It's telling me it can't be welded, so it's probably not overlapped enough. So I'm just going to click anywhere on the page to deselect, select the top part, and I'm going to move it down a bit more. Now it looks as though they're definitely overlapping, so with this top bit selected, I'm going to say okay, choose the 3 red boxes, choose the first icon, drag those handles in again to select both of these, say okay, Object, Edit, and I'll try and weld again. So it's not letting me over weld, it won't let me weld, so why not? So let's move it away from the corner and let's try it again. And it's not letting me weld for some reason, and it should do. So let me see why not. So let's try again. I've got one of them selected. I'm going to choose these 2, they're the only 2 bits I want. I'm going to come to Object, Edit and align them. Say okay, okay, Object, Edit and Weld. And it won't let me weld them for some reason, and I've no idea why. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete them for now, because there's no reason why it shouldn't let me weld them. So I'm going to cut the other two first and then try again. So let's just say okay and send them to the trash for now, so they're out of the way. So I've got my mat here, and I've got a couple of bits of card. So I'm going to put, let me turn the mat the right way around. I'm going to put this piece here and just burnish it down, and I'm going to put this piece here. And let's just cut these two and see what happens. So I'm going to load the mat into the machine. You're not going to be able to see the mat going in and out of the machine, but I'm going to say okay, and I'm going to do a background scan and just scan the mat with these two bits of card. Right, let me catch up with what you're saying. I saw Janita, Rita was hello, first time on the live. Face is saying, hi Ashley, can you make so you can make it a layer by 1/4 inch increments? Yes, you should be able to if you mean the shape. I'm just going to come into the wrench and make the background lighter so I can see where to position these two shapes, and I'm just going to get these two to cut for now. I'll have a look in a minute, Creative Concepts, to see if it was grouped. I can't remember. That might be why. There should be no reason why it shouldn't weld. Hi Charmaine. Right, where's my spatula? So this is what we've got so far. So this is the shape that I made that was originally a frame, and by using that oval I was able to weld out that hole in the middle to give me this shape. And then this is just a 1 3/4 inch circle, which I thought might kind of go on top, and you know, you could put a greeting or something on there. I mean, this isn't vital really for the what I'm wanted to show you, but I just wanted to show you that you can make something from something else. So that's those two. So let's go back and hit the home button and say okay, and let's try again. So we'll go into patterns, I'll choose a square, I'll untick maintain aspect ratio, and I'll make it 4 inches wide and 7 inches high. And set that on the map. Then I'll say add, go back into patterns, into the basic shapes again, and scroll down towards the last, I don't think it's quite on the last page, but it's nearly there, and I can't remember where. There it is. So select that. I'm going to untick maintain, no I'm not, sorry. I'm going to make this 4 inches wide, which makes it 4 inches high, and set it on the map. And then just drag it, make sure my rectangle's in the corner, drag this one down and overlap it. Let's try again. So we'll go edit, select everything, OK, object edit. It's not grouped, so we'll weld. Now see, it's welded this time, so it's just being awkward. So I'm going to say OK, because that's what I want. And then I've got another piece of card which I'm just going to line up on this mat. And then I'm going to scan this through and cut this. So I'm just flipping you back to the machine. Sheila, yes, you can make it longer or wider. That was why I made it bigger. Oh, or do you mean can it be made longer or wider independently? I don't know, I'll have a look in a minute. So I'm just going to say OK and do a background scan so we can cut this shape out. And I'm just going to plug in this phone, so it might shake for a minute because it looks as though the battery's getting low already. So I can see my piece of card, and I'm just going to position the shape and say OK, select and cut. So while that's cutting, let me just see. Caroline's saying, oops, a bit late, but we'll watch again from the beginning. Don't worry, Caroline, it's fine. Hopefully, if nothing goes wrong, it will be recorded. So I'm just going to unload the mat again, bring you back here, and then let me just see what you're saying. Face is saying, I love that you think outside the shapes to make more things. You are a creative rock star. No, not really. Charlotte is saying, I know I've said this before, but I love when you take us along on a problem solving journey. Vicky's saying, I just tried it and they just weren't overlapped enough, even though they look like they were. Okay, all right, thanks Vicky. Right, let me just go back to the shape so that we can see if we can adjust it independently. Where was it? It was in here, wasn't it? Hang on, let me. So I'm just going to come back into here and into the frames and find this shape. And I'll say OK and set it on the mat. Object edit. Right, so who asked the question about could it be Sheila? The shape as it is, as a frame, you can't adjust the height or the width independently. But you can, I think, once you've welded it. So some of the shapes you're unable to mess about with the aspect ratio, but I'm sure once you've welded out that centerpiece and it becomes a solid, I think you'd be able to do it then. I don't have time to go back and try it now, but right, so I'm just going to move the mat out of the way. So this is what we've got now. We've got this and the two elements. I'm just going to bring in my trimmer, which also has a scoring blade, and I'm just going to find my little bit of paper and see where I scored this. So I need to score this at 2 and 7. So I'm going to open the arm on my trimmer. With the cutout end to the left, I'm going to line that up at 2 inches on my trimmer, and using the score blade, I'm just going to score it. Then I'm going to move it along to 7 and score it again. Now if you've got a scoreboard, you can use a scoreboard. If you've not, you could just use a stylus and a ruler. So I'm just going to fold this over, bring in my bone folder just to burnish it, and then fold on, oh, I've not done that right. It must be 2.5, so I've done that wrong. So hang on a minute. See, there's always something that goes wrong, isn't there? 2.5, I think I should have scored that at, not 2. Or maybe even a bit more. Let's try 2.5. I think I've put the wrong measurement down. Like I say, I've not made this, so I'm going to fold that at 2.5. Yeah, that's better. So just to recap, with the cutout bit on the side, you're going to score at 2.5, then move it along and score at 7, and that's going to give you a slightly deeper pocket. Now I know I've got a score mark there which I can try and burnish out with my bone folder, and then that's going to be like your basic gift card holder, and then you're just going to apply the tiniest bit of glue just on either side. So just for the video, I'll just see if I've got some, yeah, I've got some wet glue that's going to work, and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue just on each side. You only want a thin bead because you want to be able to get your card in it. So then I'm going to fold that up and just press that down, and then I'll try and see if anybody is saying anything that I've missed. I need a whole lesson on the scoreboard. Charmaine, you are so funny. Right, so that, hopefully, when this glue dries a little bit more, will be your pocket, and that's going to be your you know, your flap over the front. You could cut some, you know, pattern papers or whatever to go on here, whatever you want. Now, I've not got a gift card handy, but what I have got is one of the Disney activation cards, which I think are probably more or less a similar size, and that will just slide in there. And because you're only applying a little bit of glue just on the left and the right, that will be able to get your card in there. So that's that. Now the other thing that I wanted to use is a piece of card which is 2 inches wide by 10 inches long. So I'm just going to cut this for the sake of time. I'm just going to cut this with my trimmer, but you could again, you know, cut this with your ScanNCut if you wanted to. And what I was going to do, I was going to try and do some foiling on this, but I've not got time because I've got to go out with Hannah at 6 o'clock. So I'm just going to cut this piece of card down to 2 inches by 10 inches because I want to cut a few more shapes from the machine. So this piece of card, which is 2 by 10, is going to act as my belly band for the front of here. So I'm just going to flip you back to the machine. I'm going to hit the home button, say OK to delete all patterns. I'm going to come into the patterns and I want to try and find a leaf shape, which I think is in this first section, but I can't remember. Yeah, here we go. So it's AR-A036 I'm using, and you know, hopefully this will be in your machine. I'm going to set it on the mat and I'm going to take it down. I think I'll make it under an inch. I don't know if it's going to cut at that size because, as I've said, I've not made this project. It's kind of just in my head and I thought we would give it a try. So I'm going to go to Edit, Object Edit, to the size icon, and I'm going to just, on the height, take the height down to under an inch and see what we get. Let's make it 85, so it's 0.85 high inches, which makes it 0.68 inches wide. I'm going to say OK. I'm going to come into the second icon that lets me make more of it, and I'll say I want 3. Not sure whether I'll use all 3, but I'll put 3 on the mat. So we'll say OK, OK, and let me just put these to one side for a minute. I'm going to bring you back. I've got some scraps of card which are far too big, so I'm just going to put 3 bits of card on this mat. And then I'm just going to try and see if we can cut this leaf at this size, because it is only tiny. And these will be the decoration. So I'm going to load the mat, close up all my drawers because I've got stuff all over as usual. I'm going to do a background scan and start, and I'm just going to position each one of these little leaves onto this different coloured card and see how we get on. I'll just take this out for now because you get the idea of, you know, that's going to fit in there. So I'm just going to drag each little leaf onto these 3 different bits of card. If I can get hold of them, I am. Let's go to the arrows. This one won't let me move it, so we'll have to use the arrows and drag it down. There's always something, isn't there? Okay, they'll do, I think, hopefully. So I'm going to say OK, OK, select and cut and start and see how we get on. So basically all as I've done is just done a background scan and put each of those leaves onto where these 3 pieces of card are on this mat. And as I say, because I've made them quite small, I don't know whether they're going to cut. Hi Karen, hope you're okay. Karen Ogden is saying, where did you get your cutting guide? What do you mean, Karen Ogden? I'm not sure what you mean. Okay, so they've cut. What's everyone else is saying? Tony's saying, sorry I'm late, been a busy day, we'll have to catch up later with what I've missed. Don't worry Tony, it's fine. Hopefully it will be recorded. Charlotte's saying lovely fall colours. That's what I was thinking, because we're going into September, aren't we? And I was thinking it's going to be autumn here soon. And that was kind of like the idea for it. And I thought, you know, it might be nice to buy somebody, maybe even if it's just like a Costa coffee card, but dress it up a little bit in a, you know, in a holder. Or this would equally work for birthdays or for Christmas. What's Barbara saying? I give more and more gift cards each year as I find present buying so hard. Sometimes never know what everyone else, or I totally agree, Barbara. I think to me it's the best thing to do. Oh, sorry, Karen, you mean my trimmer? I sell them in my Stampin' Up shop. It's a Stampin' Up paper trimmer, and it has a cutting blade and a scoring blade. Face, you're right, it is Stampin' Up. Right, so I've got the 3 little leaves. Okay, so let's see. Just going to move the machine out of the way to give me a little bit more room, and then it's going to be just a case of assembling. So the belly band, I would kind of just position it and then just crease it manually, lightly, because you want this to be not tight, because you want it to be able to slide on and off, and that's too tight. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to fold over one side and burnish it. And again, you could have the join on the front because it's going to get covered up, or you can put it to the back. I'm going to put it to the back. So which one have I just burnished? That one. So I'm going to hold that one in place, and I'm going to bring this one round, and I'm going to glue it to the back, but I'm going to glue it so it's not tight, because we want this to be able to slide on and off. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on one end, and then fold this over just loosely and just hold it down. So that becomes your belly band then. So you got your join at the back. I mean, if your join was more in the middle, you could have it at the front and cover it up with this, but I'm not bothered. I'm going to put it at the back. So we've got our basic shape that we made into a holder. This is going to slide in here like so. This I would probably put some kind of a greeting on. Maybe, you know, if your handwriting's nice, you could put enjoy or something like that. If it was like a Costa or a Starbucks card, or you could stamp something, or you could even draw something with your ScanNCut machine. But for now, I'm just going to leave it blank. But what I am going to do is pop it up onto some 3D foam. And I'm using the black ones because I'm using dark coloured card. I'm just going to put a couple on. Again, for anybody that's in the UK or certain parts of Europe, all this product is Stampin' Up, and I do sell it in my shop, but you know, equally you can make this with any cardstock. So I'm just going to position that kind of centrally to this shape that I made, and then I'm going to use the little leaves to decorate. So I think, again, I'm going to just pop this one up on the belly band. Just put a couple of our stamping dimensionals on the back. So that's going to go, you see, it could go that way. Okay, right. Can you see which way? Is it going to go vertically or horizontally? Tell me what you think before I stick it down. And I've only put the adhesive stickiness down from the top, so it's going to sit on here and it's not going to glue this down. So what we're thinking, vertically or horizontally? Just going to have a quick drink of my juice. Oh, hey up. I've got 2 horizontals and 2 verticals. Charlotte's saying you personally like, right, we'll go with horizontal. So that's going to sit in the middle, like so. And then these can be positioned. I think I'll put 2 flat, so I'll put a little bit of glue. Vicky, you don't have the maple leaf. Okay, well, there's probably something else that you could use, isn't there? I'm thinking. I don't even know why I chose this one, really, to be honest, but I think I'll put the orange and the green flat. Just a little bit of wet glue. Right, Mags is saying horizontal as well, so that looks like the choice that won. So let's just put those there. And then this one I'm going to pop onto a dimensional, and that can go on top with so it raises up a little bit. So let me just jiggle them around a bit and we'll pop that one there. Put the lid on my glue, move everything out of the way, and there it is. So what do you think? A simple project made again using basic shapes that are already in our machine. So this started off as a frame which we welded the middle out of by using an oval. We could have left it as a frame if we wanted to, but I kind of wanted more of a, oh, just move one of my leaves, hang on. Let me just push that back, because it's wet glue and it's not stuck properly yet. There you go. But again, you know, if you had time, you could decorate this bit up with paper, you could decorate this bit, it's entirely up to you. I've just not got time to do all that today, but I wanted to show you how, again, just making simple shapes into something else. So we've got Horizon Patty saying that's so cute, Tony saying lovely, Maria very pretty, Karen wonderful, Marcia awesome, superb, thank you for your idea, you're welcome. We got a thumbs up from Lisa, Charlotte saying lovely, really is great, upgrade for a gift, definitely. I mean, gift cards you can give all year round, can't you? You could even fold some money up and put money in it, but gift cards are something that you can pick up in your local supermarkets these days, can't you, for all different places. They're easy enough to buy, but rather than just give them in, you know, maybe a little plain white envelope, just make your own presentation. But it doesn't have to be autumn or fall, it can be anything. But you've got, you know, the basic shapes in your machine to make this. The belly band was just a piece of 2 by 10 inches. Again, you could cut that with your machine, or you could use on Friday when I got home. Saw that shape and thought, yeah, I like that, but don't want it as a frame. So I just thought I'd show how you can, you know, alter it to make it work for your project. Definitely, Marcia, could be used all year round for anything, couldn't it? Mother's Day, Valentine's, anything at all that you could put a gift card in. Rachel, you're welcome, thank you. Oh, thank you, Creative Concept Crafts. Charmaine saying I could see it, pinks for a girl, it definitely, yeah. The only reason I've gone with these colours is because when I was looking for something to decorate, I came across the leaves and I thought, oh, autumn, fall, and that's kind of why I chose these colours, but it would look lovely in, like you say, pinks or blues, or even like a nice sunny bright yellow with some flowers on instead of leaves, you know, for more of a spring-like theme. Karen, in your border section of your machine, you've probably got a dash line, and yes, you probably can use it. As I've said many times before, I don't like using the score line that's in the machine, and I can't be bothered faffing around with making a solid line and making it, you know, a draw and then using a score tool. I'd rather just either use my actual scoreboard or my cutter that has a scoring wheel. So, you know, it's however you want to use it. And you don't even need to use a scoreboard. Like I say, you could even just fold it and eyeball it. Am I back? Janita's saying thank you, that was great. Lisa Davis is saying thank you. Mags is saying I've disappeared. I think I'm back now. I don't know what happened. Not touched anything. It's just technology, isn't it? But hopefully it should be back. So I'll take a quick photograph of it and I'll put it up on the thumbnail for YouTube, and anybody that's missed it can go back and watch it later. It appears to still be recording, so Alison, you're welcome. Right, so that was my quick project for tonight. Charmaine saying thank you, another awesome lesson. Now I need tea. Good night. Yeah, good night, Charmaine. Barbara Hearty is saying you are so good to us. Ashley will be making these often. Thank you. Well, if you make them, please send me photographs and I'll post them up on the blog. Have a great day with Hannah. I will, thank you. Yeah, I'm going to go and get some shoes on now and a jacket and get ready to go out with her. Tony, you're welcome. So unless there are any quick last minute questions, that's your project for this week, and hopefully you will all have a nice safe week. Enjoy your bank holiday weekend if you're here in the UK, and I'll speak to you all next week. Can't see any quick, I'm just wait quickly to see if there are any last minute questions. So a quick tidy up while I'm doing it. Charlotte's just said, have fun tonight. Thank you. Okay, well, I can't see any questions, so I'm going to say goodbye and I'll speak to you all soon.